There are a lot of reasons why your car would not start, but some are more common than others. Knowing how to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape can save you tons of money. By implementing all or some of the car care tips, you can begin to save a significant amount of time and money. Below are 5 common reasons why your car won't start and some advice to ensure your car stays in its top shape. 1. Empty gas tank. It is sometimes easy to forget that your gas tank needs to be refilled. The solution here is simple. Get more gas. 2. Dead battery. A dead battery is the most common reason why your car won't start. The battery is what the car uses to provide electrical power to the entire car and electrical components, for example lights, radio, etc. While the vehicle is running, the alternator charges the battery. If the battery is not charged sufficiently, you will not be able to start the car or use any electrical components. 3. Defective ignition switch. If you know your battery is working properly, but your car doesn't turn over on the first few tries, you might have a problem with the ignition switch. You can try to narrow down the cause of your issue by turning on your headlights. This is because your car's battery controls your headlights and dashboard, and if it's the case that they turn on your engine isn't able to start, then a bad ignition switch is the likely problem. 4. Faulty starter. A broken starter is another common reason your car won't start. A starter is an electrical motor that is connected to the battery. Its role is to set the engine, that is pistons, crankshaft, etc., in motion when you turn the ignition switch on. Once the engine starts and is in motion, the starter's job is complete. If the starter goes bad, the engine will not crank properly or may not crank at all when you turn the ignition key on. If you hear a clicking noise when you try to start your vehicle, a broken or weakened starter could be the reason why your car isn't starting. 5. Clogged fuel filter. If your fuel filter is clogged, the gasoline won't be able to reach the engine. This makes it difficult for your car to burn the fuel it needs to get going. Fuel filters should be changed every 15,000 to 20,000 kilometers, so consider changing fuel filters next time you get your car serviced. To give you more information, you may add this expert mechanics to your knowledge.
It's happened to all of us. You get in your car and turn the key, and the only thing you hear is a click. So what do? You open the hood and check. Up it goes. Now if your battery's weak, the starter will click because it doesn't have enough juice to turn the engine over. So try jump starting it first. Get good battery cables. Cheap ones will melt or won't work right. Put the positive on the positive of your donor battery and put the other positive end on the positive of the battery in your car. Then put one of the negative cables on the negative terminal of your donor battery. Clamp the other negative one on any solid metal part on the engine. That keeps battery from accidentally blowing up from hydrogen vapor. Now we'll turn it and... nope, car still won't start. So we know the battery's good. It's not the battery. Now generally either the starter's bad or the engine is locked up. So let's try turning the engine by hand to see if it's locked up. We'll take the wheel out of the way. And there's the crankshaft bolt right here. So we'll get a cheater bar and a socket that fits on there. We'll put it on the bolt and see if we can turn the engine. Well, it turns, so we know the engine isn't locked up. That leaves the number one culprit as being a bad starter, so let's take the starter off and test it. Now in this car, the starter's easier to access from the bottom, so you jack it up in the air, and there's the starter motor right there. We can test it by hot wiring it first to see if it'll work if we do that. Now in this starter motor, this little wire here is the one that energizes it, so we'll put a jumper wire on top of that little wire, touch it on the positive terminal of the battery. Well, it's a good thing we did that because there's nothing wrong with the starter. There's a problem in the wiring system that we have to fix. Now, starting systems have relays and switches and all kinds of things in them, but I noticed the backup lights are on in this car. Now, the backup lights stay on in this car whether it's in park, neutral, drive, it doesn't matter. So there's got to be a problem in the transmission range sensor. It's probably broken. So I called up a Chevy dealer, and they're $163. And considering the shape of this whole car, with a taped-on mirror that just fell off, and body parts that are barely even hanging on, I'm just going to bypass it, splice the two wires together to bypass the switch so that it'll start all the time. The owner doesn't care. He just wants the car to start, and as long as he remembers if it's in drive and he hits the starter, the car will start. It's not going to hurt anything. You just go down to the neutral safety switch here and pull the connector off. Here's the connector. Then with a test light, see which one gets power when you turn the key on. And in this case, it's this wire. Then find the wire that when it gets power turns the starter on like this. You give it power with your device hand, then the engine starts right up. Then you just splice those two wires together and it'll start. Now granted, it'll start in all gears now, but it saves a whole bunch of money, and this old thing, who knows how much longer it's going to be on the road anyway.
Thanks for your time. Have a great day. Subscribe to this channel and share this video to others.